Okay. Um, this is we had some troubles in the past. We're gonna try and keep this one as quick as possible. Um, I'm gonna introduce everybody really quick. Actually, we don't really need to do that. I'm Jake. That's Jake. That's Brandon. That's Jacob. All right. I'm gonna get started with my my takes of the week, or sorry, my start and sit. I'm going to tell you guys to start Najee and a very obvious pick, Maserati Marv. Maserati Marv is going up against the Niners. Chances are the Niners are going to be scoring a lot of points on them. This is going to be a great game script for Maserati Marv as he's going to be getting a lot of targets. Um, I also say start Najee Harris. Cordarrelle Patterson and Jalen Warren are pretty sure going to be out. Going against the Dallas defense, and we're forgetting that when Kamara went up against the Dallas defense, he dropped 40. Kamara dropped 40 on the Dallas defense, so why can't Najee? Obviously, he's not going to be dropping 40, but he's going to have a very good game. I have him starting over players like Rashid Shaheed and stuff like that. It's a great RB2 flex option. I'm saying sit Achan and Rashad White. Achan is playing in a very poor offense. We were saying it earlier as we were just talking with ourselves that um, whatchamacallit, the Dolphins are looking like they're a bottom five team. They don't really look serious at all. So I'm not really paying attention to the Dolphins. I'm sitting Achan. I'm not gonna bother with anyone on the Dolphins honestly until they get their stuff together with Tua. Um, and I'm also gonna say sit with Rashad White. Rashad White is getting outplayed by Bucky Irving pretty heavily. Let me just make sure the stream is up and doing fine. Yeah, it is. Okay. I don't know. I'm having troubles on my phone seeing it. But whatchamacallit, Bucky Irving's outshining Rashad White. It's not looking very good for Rashad. He's getting less and less efficient every game. He is looking like a player that we can't really start to trust. We took him at a very pretty, not that pricey, but pretty pricey ADP. Um, so I'm gonna say sit. Oops. I'm gonna say sit Rashad White and Devon Achan.
This is such an off week. I can't. Okay. You're done.
I'm all good, yeah.
All right. On to me. Going through my starts first. Travis Kelsey. We saw a lot of looks on Sunday. Expect more to come against a pretty mid Saints secondary. And this is not just for this week. Multiple weeks coming, especially with Rashid out. He's gonna be a big target now. Him and shout out to Xavier Worthy too. Next up, Scary Terry. We're finally seeing the connection with Jane Daniels there. I'm starting him this week against the Browns defense that's been getting torched by Malik Neighbors and more. Next up, Devin Singletary. Hurts to say this, but we saw Monty and Gibbs both destroy the Lions' defense, and expect that again from Singletary. He's not obviously Monty and Gibbs level, but Seahawks have a lot of injuries on the D line, and with the pass defense being so good, I'm expecting a good game from him. Sits Zamir White. He's been lackluster all year. I mean, we all know this. I also saw that the Raiders head coach talked about Madison and how he had 5 carries for 60 yards, and how he's gonna get a lot more of the workload. At this point, I'm putting or trading Zamir. Lastly, for sit, Dak Prescott. The Steelers defense has been pretty good, only giving it's ranked 26 in points given to QBs, and I just don't like Dak this game.
My
You done?
starts,
Jacob's going next, all right.
Chuba Hubbard. He's playing against a pretty bad, uh, who's he playing? Chicago defense. Pretty bad Chicago defense. My other start is also on the Panthers, Deontay Johnson. He's been looking insanely good recently against a bad Chicago defense again. My sits, one of them is T. Higgins. He looked okay in the first game, but he's playing a pretty good Baltimore defense now, it's a really tough matchup for him. And also, This is like kind of in between. If you have a better quarterback, I might consider putting Kyler Murray on the bench. If you have a better quarterback, because he is playing the Niners, and the Niners have been shutting people down recently. Um, so, if you have a better quarterback uh, that has a better matchup, I might consider sitting Kyler Murray.
All right, before we get into Brandon, we do have a question, and I'm actually gonna let Brandon take this one because he does have this player um, on
Yes,
his team.
I was gonna say this as
Yeah.
well. I'll take this one. Thoughts on Garrett Wilson? Give it time. All right. I know this isn't a guy you're expecting to. I mean, this isn't what you're expecting from an offensive rookie of the year player. Give it time. All right. This offense hasn't gotten quite there yet. They got to get it rolling, but he hasn't seen. I mean, the lowest amount of targets he's seen in a game is 6. He's seeing a good amount of targets. I mean, he's struggling to bring him in a little bit, but I mean, with Garrett Wilson, I just say give it time.
I disagree.
Yeah.
You
I
disagree?
think I think you trade me Garrett Wilson.
I think I don't.
Um,
Don't.
No, I don't know. Unless the Jets could get their stuff together, I'm not a big Garrett Wilson guy. But yeah.
me personally, I just don't like that the Jets have so many weapons. They have hold on, just hear me out. They have Brees Hall. They have Braylon Allen, who is very heavily rising in my opinion. I love Braylon Allen. You have Alan Lazard, who Aaron Rodgers is rekindling his connection with him. So it's looking a bit weird for Garrett Wilson.
I mean, the only guy the only guy you can name on this offense who's got any real competition with him is Brees Hall. I don't think Alan Lazard is not on his level. Wilson and A. Rodgers are going to start making that connection. Obviously, Rodgers is a talented quarterback. He's going to get his guys involved. He's going to get the talented wide receivers involved, and we know that Garrett Wilson's a talented wide receiver.
Yeah, I
With
don't
the
know.
older quarterbacks, it usually takes a while for two players, for Rodgers especially, for him to develop a connection with someone. I think he said it himself. Once him and Garrett get on the same page, it'll be special. I think they need time. I mean, I think back to Brady's first year with the Bucks. They didn't start off hot, but they ended with a Super Bowl win. So I wouldn't write him off yet.
Yeah, let Rodgers adjust to his talent.
All right, yeah. Who are you starting? Who are you sitting?
All right, so my first start, obviously, the tragic Rashee Rice injury. But that opens up a lot of opportunity for young rookie Xavier Worthy to come out here and show what he can really do on the field. So, obviously, when you're a wide receiver one for Patrick Mahomes, great things are going to happen. So, I'd start this guy in any league if you have him, whether it be wide receiver 2, whether it be flex. I'm putting him in your lineup. Second guy, saw a pretty big game from him. Even though we fell short, Jackson Smith-Njigba played a pretty good game against a, Lions secondary. They're not the worst. They're not the greatest, but 12 targets, brought in 8 of them. And, he sees another favorable matchup against the Giants secondary. I think they're allowing about 200 yards per game. And, for my sits, if I'm you, I'm sitting any Buccaneers running back. These guys,
I don't even know why I'm laughing. I just saw Jake laughing, so I was starting.
Dude, I just thought about how many times it took to start this, so it's just kind of funny.
all right.
We did this.
Rashad White, Bucky Irving, splitting carries, going up against the 9th-ranked Atlanta rushing defense. I'm not starting either of them. I don't like either of them in this matchup. Second sit is going to be Jordan Addison. It's going to surprise some people. We saw 2 touchdowns in week 4. Everybody's going to think this is the guy, I'm starting him. But you got to remember, we've only seen 2 games out of him this season. And in those 2 games, he's only seen 4 targets in each. Especially considering, he did get 2 touchdowns. But one of those was a rushing touchdown. How often do these really happen with wide receivers? It's not going to be something that happens every week. And, he's going up against the 7th-ranked Jets secondary. So, I'm sitting Jordan Addison in all leagues.
We also have a question by same guy. How do we feel about Ramondre? I
Fine this week.
don't like
He'll be
Ramondre.
fine. He'll be
We
fine.
we had somebody in here before. He had to leave, but his one of his players that he was very promising on for is Ramondre. I personally just think it's because he has him in his team, but I don't like Ramondre. I don't like the situation he's in. I don't like anybody on the Patriots, to be honest. So I'm gonna go ahead and say get rid of him
I'm
This week he'll be fine.
this
Definitely.
week, probably. But
I'm not writing him out of your lineup completely, but I definitely don't think he's running back 1 or running back 2 material. I think he's a flex play.
I think
This week you start him definitely.
this week you
Uh,
start him and you sell him high.
when the I mean I can't really say when the Patriots offense is rolling. They were only rolling for like 2 weeks, but you saw when the Patriots offense is playing decent. They scored like 16 points in both games, like an average. I'm just taking like a rough average. He
But
put up like decent fantasy numbers, but this week they're gonna put up like 20 points. I feel it against the Dolphins, who've been really bad. Um, if you look at his schedule, he has some pretty like favorable games. I'm thinking like Jacksonville, Tennessee, Chicago. But I mean, at some point, you might have to get rid of him to try to upgrade, package him with someone else, because I don't know if he's like good enough to the point where you could trust him week in and week out, no matter his matchup. I would say it's really like a matchup play.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
take it.
I'm still pretty high on Ramondre, not at an RB1 level obviously, but still RB2 or flex. As Jacob said, I said this about 2 streams ago. I really like his matchups. Um, it's a pretty good matchup for him, and he gets the most usage on that team. I think the Patriots, just him by himself gets more attempts on the ground than Jacoby or Drake May throws the ball. So I really like that about him. So I'm still high on him. I'm not quite selling him yet, unless it's a great upgrade. But yeah.
Schwab, we're not answering your questions on Xavier Ball Too Hard Leggett.
Oh no! Don't worry. I'll get to him later.
We apparently we're gonna get to him later, but I'm not.
We'll get to him later.
Um. All right. Did anybody else have a waiver? I think Jacob, you have a waiver wire, right? Or no, wait. Start sit.
Start sits.
I already said it.
Okay. Um. We'll get into the waiver wire now. My one guy, Kenneth Gainwell. He is the backup running back for the Eagles. This is, um, I'm just gonna say this. With the two top Eagles wide receivers out, Saquon didn't really get the attention we thought he was gonna get last game. He had a really, really big run, and then we just didn't see him play for the rest of the game, basically. That's probably not gonna happen again. Sirianni probably saw that and is like, all right, I can't really do that again. But if Saquon goes down, now you have Kenneth Gainwell at your running back spot. This is literally only a waiver wire position where you can take him if you have Saquon in your lineup and you're scared that someone might snag Gainwell. Um, so that's my one waiver wire guy. My second is Tucker Kraft. In a world where the tight end market is absolutely abysmal, this is a guy who dropped a lot of points last week, and Luke Musgrave doesn't really seem to be getting the attention that we thought he was going to be getting. I think Kraft went 6 receptions for 9 targets. He was trusted in the red zone too, and with Love back, we're gonna see him get a lot. We're gonna see him get that kind of volume again. So Kenneth Gainwell, kind of a deeper league ad. Uh, Tucker Kraft is probably going to be the guy that you'll be wanting to go for more realistically.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna pick up Tucker Craft last week, and I ended up not starting him. I started Hunter Henry instead, and I'm definitely regretting it because I lost by 3 points, and Tucker Craft would have actually gotten me the win. But if anybody has anything to say, I'd like to move on to mine.
We have a
Um,
question with Sam Laporta. What do we do with Sam Laporta?
I am holding him. I'm holding him.
100% holding.
I would hold him
Um,
for now. I think you saw like the explosive Lions offense we were all imagining
Yes.
yesterday, and
Yeah.
he's a part of that. I mean, he's some part of that at least. He should be back some weeks. I don't even know how to explain his low usage right now. I
I
think it's.
mean,
I mean, maybe it's
I think the only
JMO.
yeah, I was just gonna say
I don't know.
I just was gonna say that the thing is they
Maybe it's
probably just
JMO,
found
but
out that
JMO only
JMO
caught 2
existed.
balls yesterday. He only caught 2
Here-
balls.
here's the thing: not even the explosive play from the Lions offense themselves, but the explosive play from Laporta. I know he didn't see many catches, but when he did, he was running them down the field for a couple of yards.
So
Just
like
about to say
last year I swear every time he caught the ball, like he was like 20 yards down the field.
Yeah,
he's a yak. He's a yak.
He's
tight
a-
Like
end.
last year,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
insane.
tight
Like
end.
he like Goff would throw the ball and Laporta would like magically be there.
He did.
But I don't know what's happening this year.
He did miss out on a touchdown last game. He got down at the, I believe it was like the 2 or the 1, so that would have been an additional 6 points. But he's just really explosive. He's one of the only explosive tight ends right now, in my opinion. I mean, until
Yeah, he's
like
fine.
T.J. Hawk gets back, I guess you could say T.J. Hawk.
And
Um,
there's no point to get rid of him now, especially when
yeah,
the tight ends are so
the
bad.
tight ends are so bad. I mean, unless you could sell him high and get some like crazy value, I don't see me selling him or anything like that.
I really like Kittle this year though. Maybe because he's on my team, but
that's
he's been
only
playing
Yeah.
really
it's
good.
only because
I
on your
mean,
He's
team.
been
again,
playing really good.
Yeah.
I mean,
guess.
tight ends, the biggest thing is like Kittle gets those explosive plays on the field. And they have plays designed for him to go like a good like get him in space and let him run because he's a beast when he runs.
Alright,
Yeah.
if that's all, I'll move on to my waiver wire ads. Mine are the Packers wide receivers. I mean, Gene Reed is probably picked up in your league, but it's kind of crazy. He's only rostered at 80%. You'd expect it to be more. But I'm talking about more Romeo Dobbs and how do you say it? Devontae? Wicks?
Tavian.
Yeah, Dontavian Wicks.
Dontavian, whatever, bro. Dobbs is rostered in 25%. Wicks is rostered in 9.7. The Packers offense is so back, and Jordan Love, even though Jalen Reed is his wide receiver 1, we've seen so much volume to Dobbs and Wicks too, and it's shown by them having almost the same percentage of team targets, which is crazy. They sharing the ball so much. Next one, kind of going back to my point on Zamir White, it's Alexander Madison. I think he was rostered in 35% league, so he's probably there. This past Sunday, he had 5 carries for 60 yards, which is crazy. And again, the Raiders head coach said he's going to get more reps because he deserved it and he showed it. And yeah,
I
I
think my
agree.
biggest waiver pickup right now is Rico Dowell. Um, I think he definitely showed that he won the job over Zeke. I mean, Zeke was barely even playing. Uh, and the number one spot in a Cowboys offense that should be pretty good coming down the stretch, I think is a good spot. Especially he has receiving upside too. He's on third down plays. He caught a touchdown. Uh, that's the biggest one. I also got Packers receivers. The Packers offense is definitely back, and Christian Watson is out again, sadly, which definitely boosts some of those lower depth chart guys like Dontavian Wicks, who caught 2 touchdowns on Sunday. Uh, I think Jaden Reed's definitely wide receiver 1, but Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, they're all like the way the Packers run it, like they're all like wide receiver 1A, 1B, 1C. And they'll definitely all get passes thrown to them.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. They're gonna spread the ball around a lot. All right. My first waiver wire guy. Gonna touch on this guy now. Xavier Legette. He saw 10 targets in the Panthers game against the Bengals. Obviously, we know there's some competition there. Deontay saw 14 targets, right? But clearly, Andy Dalton's slinging the ball. Everybody's getting it. He's throwing it around. This team likes to pass. So, competition on this offense or not, I think Xavier Legette's a safe waiver wire pickup if you can get this guy. Number 2, obviously we saw Jonathan Taylor go down, high ankle. This might be only a 1 week thing. This might be a 2 week thing. But regardless, if you're looking for a running back this week to replace Jonathan Taylor, I'm picking up Trey Sermon. He is the wide receiver 2 on the Colts. He's going to come in and play that position for Jonathan Taylor. He plays against a very, very poor, I think it's either 26th or 28th ranked Jags rushing defense. So Trey Sermon, he's the guy. He's definitely going to be there on your waiver wire. Obviously with the status of Jonathan Taylor up in the air, I'm going to try and grab him before we hear that Taylor's going to miss 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, it kind of sucked because I was trying to get Jonathan Taylor for Mason. The whole problem that everybody has is that they said that CMC's going to be back in 2 weeks. This is a horrible trade. And now we're seeing CMC could potentially be out for the entire season because we don't know what the Niners are lying about.
Again, like we said, the Niners, not a very good thing for fantasy owners. They like to lie about the status of their players. They don't share too much. Obviously, we thought Christian McCaffrey, it was one leg. He was going to be fine. He was going to be back in 4 to 6 weeks, but it's looking like there's potential for him to miss the entire season, unfortunately.
Which means I get to keep Jordan Mason, and I don't have to worry about getting rid of him. All right. That was our waiver wire pickups. We are going to move into a new segment this week. Before I get into that new segment, we do have Aiden, who was not here today. His waiver wire was Tutu Atwell, Josh Downs, and Chase Brown. I think the biggest out of all of those that you should be targeting is, without a question, Chase Brown. He looked very, very strong in that Bengals offense. So I don't really want to steal his talking points, but don't be surprised if our new segment and the first statement of the segment, don't be surprised if Mark Andrews starts getting more targets. Okay? We have seen so much disappointment with Mark Andrews. Fantasy owners have been furious with him. I know the one person in our league literally just gave him to me for free. And now I own him, and he's sitting on my bench, and he is kind of collecting dust. He missed the only target that he had, which is very unfortunate. However, Harbaugh said he is going to get Andrews the ball more. This is not the Niners media where they're lying to us. I think Harbaugh is being legitimate. We also saw Likely not perform. I think it was, one reception for, I want to say 26 yards or 16 yards, something like that. So both tight ends didn't perform the way that we wanted them to perform. Derrick Henry performed the way that Jacob wanted him to perform. But don't be surprised if all of a sudden Mark Andrews starts to bounce back up. We're not going to see the same tight end that we saw 1, 2, 3 years prior. But we're going to start to see, hopefully, a better looking tight end. We'll move it over to Jake.
Yeah, I agree with the Mark Andrews. I would be patient with him. Give him like 2 weeks. I think he'll start cooking again. He's always been involved in the offense. He's not getting the targets, but he's always involved. He has a higher snap count than Isaiah Likely still, and one of the highest on the team. So yeah. Moving on to my don't be surprised if the Chargers make a finish above 700 and make a playoff run. I actually like the Chargers. I'm not saying a deep playoff run. I'm saying like maybe divisional round at max. But we saw them compete with the Chiefs. Yes, they lost Rashee, but it's the Chiefs. Like, do they really need Rashee? I mean, yeah, I guess. But the Chargers, I really like them. They're my dark horse for the AFC. I think they can make it a pretty good season.
The Falcons also kind of gave the Chiefs a good run. They were like one call away.
Yeah.
But would you now say the Falcons are like a playoff team?
I think the Falcons have already been established as a pretty serious contender.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I think the Chiefs are like. I feel like in the regular season right now, they're not the scariest team in the world. Like, a win against them is credible, but like I don't know.
they're heavily underperforming in my
I
eyes.
think Mahomes is actually like playing like if you give his stats blindly, he's playing like badly. But I mean,
I don't.
he has like I think it's something like 7 touchdowns and 6 picks. I mean, if you gave me that and said that was like Daniel Jones, I probably wouldn't even like question it. I'm not saying Mahomes is on Daniel Jones level, but I'm saying his stats do not look good right now. But they're still winning games, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a don't be surprised if take. So we're not fully expecting it to happen, but it can happen. Also,
Yeah,
we're
it's
gonna be
more of a
seeing
hot take.
we're gonna be seeing Jacob's roommate in a few seconds. He said he's walking in. Um, so
All
we'll
right.
we'll move on with Brandon.
All right. Don't be surprised if we see a dip in Devontae Adams' production. Obviously, he just requested a trade from the Raiders. Will most likely be traded by the November 5th deadline. And obviously, if he is not, I don't think he's touching the field again this season. He'll probably sit out. But if he is traded, don't be surprised if you see a dip in his production as he gets used to a new offense. Obviously, the Jets are there as a potential team to pick him up, and he's got that connection with Rodgers, so maybe that can go well. But the other two teams, I think it was the Commanders or one of them who were looking to get him. Can't quite remember what the other team was, but I know that there's it's either way, it's going to take some adjusting for him. I wouldn't expect a crazy 15 plus point performance out of him in his first 1 or 2 weeks on this new team.
Yeah. Just real quick, someone said keep sleeping on the Commanders. Me personally, I am
I'm
not
not
sleeping
sleeping
on the
on him.
Commanders.
I'm not
I
sleeping
love
on
the
him.
Commanders. You're
No,
gonna
they're
see
playing really
soon
good.
on the TikTok. Commanders. I won't say where they're ranked, but they're ranked pretty highly. I will say that. But I'm in love with this Commanders team personally.
I wouldn't quite call the Commanders a contender yet,
You're lying.
but I think no. I think they are in that middle category. They're not pretenders. They're not quite contenders yet. They can get there.
What would
I want
you?
to see them play a good defense.
Okay,
Like
what
really good
classifies
defense.
as a serious contender for you? Like where's the stopping point? That's my question. That's where I'm gonna say.
I mean, what teams have we seen this Commanders offense play?
I don't know. Let me look.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But I will
Who is
say
it?
Cardinals is easy.
I will say yeah, we have
Cardinals look
Yeah,
good.
this was a Cardinals defense with hardly any
Or
decent
Tampa
defensive
Bay,
backside.
the Giants,
Obviously,
the Bengals, and the Cardinals.
okay.
yeah.
We'll
I
say
mean,
this. There's hope in Washington, 100%.
Yeah.
no. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying they're not pretenders. I'm not going to
If
label them as
they beat,
pretenders,
if
but
they
they're in
beat
this middle
Baltimore,
category where we need to see Jaden Daniels go up against a really good defense. If he can hold his own against a good defense, sure, I will put them in the contenders
I think
category.
the biggest test is Baltimore right now, week 6.
Yeah,
If they beat
we just
Baltimore week 6 and do what they've been doing, then I'll believe.
I don't even think it's beat them at that point. I think it's just play at a very good level and keep them
Yeah,
competitive.
put up points like
I
they've been putting up.
Jaden Daniels Rookie of the Year is a crazy statement.
What?
Is it though?
Not right
It's
Is it
now.
really
though?
I'm
not.
gonna disagree with the statement.
Dude.
Are
Not
you
right
gonna say
now.
you're gonna say Malik Neighbors?
I'm gonna say Malik Neighbors.
It's
Alright,
not.
at this point, it's either Malik or Jaden Daniels.
It's Jaden
Jaden
Daniels.
Daniels is there. This is the thing. Malik Neighbors is a wide receiver. Jaden Daniels is a QB.
Yeah, they're gonna give it to.
All
They're
right,
gonna give
but
it
please
to Daniel.
put Jaden Daniels up against a decent defense
We'll see it.
and
We'll see
We're
it
gonna
on
see
week
that
6.
happen. These
We'll
also
see it week
listen,
6.
a rookie of the year take or any award take at week
sure,
4
any
going
take in
into
week 4
5
is
is
insane.
it's pretty yeah,
I
we
feel
don't
like
know.
rookies, it's easier to tell though,
That's way easier.
It's easier,
because like
but you still don't
Everybody calls Will
injuries
Anderson,
injuries can happen
Jalen
like
Carter.
no, I'm saying injuries can happen, but the way rookies get involved in games, I feel like
Yeah,
if they're involved early, then
it's
they
way
have a
more
higher chance
easier.
of
Yeah.
winning rookie of the year.
I mean, Will Anderson Jr. showed out in like the first like 4 or 5 weeks, and then he ended up winning.
Yeah, all right, Jacob. What do you have for us? What's your don't be
Mine's don't be
surprised?
surprised if Deontay Johnson keeps playing at a very high level, and he even ends in like the high end wide receiver 2 status, maybe even low end wide receiver 1 by the end of the season.
I love that take. Obviously, as a Deontay
He has
Johnson,
him
we're
on
all
his
looking-
team.
Yeah,
Him and
okay,
Garrett
okay,
Wilson.
okay. Before the
yeah,
first
he's been
2
really
weeks,
good.
Before the first 2 weeks, Deontay Johnson was ranked as the 47th receiver. He's currently 14 since Andy Dalton has joined this offense.
He's put up two 20-point performances back to back, and he's gotten so many targets. It's insane. The last 2 weeks, he's gotten 14 and 13 targets.
The hype's
It's
gotta fall
insane.
down at one point. This Panthers
Yeah.
team, it's still the Panthers, bro. They gotta fall down at one point.
I don't know.
It's still the Panthers, but it's the Panthers' defense. This Panthers' offense is slinging the ball.
The Panthers could be 2-2 right now, and with the win against the Bengals, their defense could lock up a little more.
100%.
Early
don't
in the
know,
season,
I
it's really hard to tell with teams
But it's always
because
like,
I mean, some teams are like 1-3 right now that I feel like shouldn't be, like the Bengals.
yeah, like the Bengals shouldn't be 1-3. We all know this.
Yeah.
They also played
They
really bad.
start out every season the same way though. Joe
same.
Burrow starts out every season
Really, I said it
looking
last
like
week. It's so hard to
looking
start
like a
and
bottom
bad.
tier quarterback at the beginning of every season, and then you get him to week 6, and Joe Burrow starts looking like a top
So
5
hard
guy.
to start off that way and still make the playoffs. Because I mean, the games in week 1 count the same as the games in week 17. So I don't like early season matters a lot when it comes to end of season ranking. Because getting the win week 1 against the Patriots, I'm telling you, if they miss the playoffs by 1 game or 2 games, you'll look back at the early losses versus the Patriots and the Commanders, and you'll be like, that's where they went wrong.
I don't
Like, you
think they're.
can't
I don't think
start
they're
like that.
beating the Commanders regardless.
No, come on.
The Bengals are 100% beating the Washington Commanders.
They could beat the Commanders if they were playing full strength. They're beating the Commanders. I
You're
think the
saying-
Chiefs
you're
game
saying,
is a
like-
good representation. The Chiefs game is a good representation of how they could play.
And somebody said earlier that the Bengals are probably the worst team in the league, and that's insane because we know it's the Cleveland Browns.
I think that was Aiden. That was Aiden. I'm
What?
pretty sure before he left.
Cleveland Browns are the worst team in the league.
It might be the
No.
Dolphins.
No, it is 100% not the Browns. It's
It
like
is the Cleveland Browns.
no,
It's
it's not.
the Browns have a really horrible offense.
They're like borderline bottom 5.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
Bro,
say they're
I'm
the
telling you,
absolute
Deshaun
worst.
Watson is the whole problem. I saw this on the internet. It was like it was an interview, but it was the Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, however you say his name,
Yes.
telling Deshaun Watson, "We need you to be more of a running back, or not even a running back." He said, "We need you to be more of an improviser. We need you to be more of a scrambler." You know what Deshaun Watson said? He said, "I ain't no running back. I'm a quarterback."
But look at his first few seasons in Houston. He
Dude,
was
he
mobile.
was a crazy
He was so
improviser.
mobile. All of
He
his
was
great
so
plays
good.
came from
I
him
miss that
scrambling out of the
Deshaun
pocket
Watson.
and rushing. I mean, I
Dude,
saw it a couple times.
No, you
I
don't.
did see it a couple times in the Browns game.
I-
There were a couple
dude, look
plays.
at-
There were a couple plays where he ran out of the backfield. He gained them a couple yards, but he just needs to do that a lot more often.
I miss the old D-Watt. If we look at Texas D-Watt, we see him in the pocket, right? We see him. He doesn't have his options. He takes off. He improvises. This Cleveland Browns D-Watt sits in the pocket, waits for him to be surrounded. The pockets just absolutely collapse, and he just gets sacked. I think he might be the most sacked quarterback, but like have one of the better lines compared to like let's say Geno or like you know other quarterbacks.
If healthy,
He's been so bad.
the Niners would dog walk the NFC until the playoffs.
No.
Currently, not healthy, the Seattle Seahawks are at the top of the NFC West.
We love the Seahawks. We have 3 Seahawks fans here, and then there's just Jacob.
Nah.
Goddamn cheese.
No, Gino looks so good though. Gino
He
looked
looks-
really
Geno
good.
looks so good.
Dude.
Really good.
It
Really
was
good.
not his fault, dude.
It's not his fault.
No, he looked
Like,
really good.
It's not even like
It's
that game.
Wait,
6 defensive starters.
Who do you think? Who do you think? Who do you think
out
played better?
that game?
Jared
Julian
Goff or
Love
Gino?
injured in the second half.
Gino. Gino.
Jared Goff or Gino?
Jared Goff or Gino? Jared
played
Goff.
better last night?
Gino.
Gino.
Gino better than
Gino.
perfect Goff.
All right, and I'll
Jared
I
Goff,
will
don't get me
take no.
started. Don't get me started. No, shut up.
Jared Goff played perfect.
You're telling me to not get you started. I'm not getting you started.
No.
You know how insane being
No.
perfect in a game is, though?
Jared Goff,
Bro,
I don't think he threw a pass over 20
Jake,
yards in
Jake,
the
I
air.
have
don't
like
think
I
he
have like a
did.
proposal. I actually
it
have
was
like a
like- it
proposal
was
for you.
like-
Jared
It was
Goff.
like 295 total passing yards,
Thank
and
you,
like
thank you.
270 of them
And
were after
still,
the catch.
Yeah, it was
Bro.
250 and
If you
210.
think about it, think about watching a highlight tape, and every time he drops back, it's going to be a completion for a full game. That's
It is
insane.
going to be a completion.
It
It's
is
going to be
insane.
a 5-yard dump
It's
off.
insane.
Jaden Daniels
play.
does the same thing. Are we calling him
If
like a top
all
5
if
QB?
all 18 of your attempts in
I've
an
seen
entire
Jaden
game
Daniels top
are
5 QB takes.
5-yard dump offs, I wouldn't be surprised if they got called.
I've actually seen Jaden Daniels like top 5 QB.
5 is crazy. Jaden
I've
Daniels
seen
top 5 is
him
crazy.
top 5. I don't think he's top 5, but I've seen people argue he's top 5.
Okay, like top like 12 max.
No, but still, it's insane thinking that a quarterback could drop back and complete every single pass. If
Yeah,
you
I
look
mean,
Bro, it was
if you
dump
look at
offs.
it,
It was dump offs. I
18
could
for
do it.
18.
If you put me behind
Okay.
the Lions offense and ask
Okay.
me to throw a 1-yard dump off every single time, it's a completion. I'm
Can you
sorry.
catch a touchdown too?
Dude, don't even do that.
Jared Goff played great. I'm just
He
saying,
caught a
played great.
touchdown, bro. Congrats.
great.
I
He
don't
played great.
I'm not
care.
denying that he played great. He
Played
did
great.
play
He
great.
played great, but
Did
Gino
play great.
played
It's-
better.
The play calling was they
Okay.
were having him pass these dump offs, but you know when 295 or whatever it was that your passing yards, 280 of them were yards after the catch. How much did he really do?
I guess you could argue that.
I mean, it's also he's just working with such an incredible team. Like, it's not Goff. That's not Goff's team.
No, but
Nobody-
to be fair,
nobody
I'm
looks
saying-
at nobody looks at the
No, they love Jared Goff. They actually love Jared Goff.
nobody looks at the Lions and says Jared Goff. Jared Goff is the greatest quarterback. No, you're looking at
the Lions. I bet you the Lions fans do.
the Lions
love
fans
Jared
do,
Goff so much.
but people that
He's not
aren't
bad QB.
people
not
that
bad.
people that aren't delusional are gonna look at the Lions
You
and say
think
it
Jared
was
Goff's top 10 right now.
people
Okay,
people are
okay.
people are gonna look at the Lions and they're gonna
Yes.
say it's Gibbs, it's Monty, it's Amon Ra, it's Laporta. That's their offense. It is not Jared Goff. He's not the
No,
reason
but
that they're
hear me
winning
out.
games.
No, but he
Hear me
brings
out.
it together. He brings it together.
No, he brings it together. It's the same thing with the Seahawks because you got Monty and Gibbs, K9 Charbonnet. That's like pretty equal if you ask me, honestly.
I think they
But
take the
I would
upper
say
edge
Monty
there.
and Gibbs is better, a little bit better.
The Monty
Noah
Gibbs
Fant-
is better.
Noah Fant versus Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta is better, okay? But DK, JSN, Jake Bobo, Tyler Lockett, LaVisca Chenault is better than the Lions wide receiver core. I only know J-Mo and Amon-Ra, quite honestly. But it's Jared Goff brings together the Lions team in a nice way. Don't get me wrong, he's not bad, but he's more of a system quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, but Gino also brings it together. But Gino cooked. I don't care what anybody says. Gino had an amazing game. I mean, Gino's doing amazing. MVP. MVP.
Okay, not MVP.
It was just the defense. It was the defense. We had 6
Eh.
defensive starters out. Julian Love went down in the second half. That's when they
Yeah.
started.
Now, do
you
you
know,
think like I don't know. I think the Lions offense looked so good yesterday.
It
I'm
did
telling
look
my
good.
comparison.
It did good.
My comparison is like spot on. I think the Lions they look like the Patriots just with worth players, like the old Patriots. Like they've won they can win in like so many ways. It's insane. They could win in like low scoring slugfest games because of their running game, and they could also win in like shootouts like we saw yesterday.
I just don't
all
like
right,
them
in the
because they
comments
beat us.
We got being a game manager is not a bad thing. Goff is the QB the Lions
No,
need.
it's
And
not.
No,
honestly,
exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
we're
It's
not
a
we're
bad
not
thing.
saying Goff
I think
is
Goff's
a
top 10.
bad
I'm kind of-
quarterback. We're
I'm just saying I don't
that
like them.
to praise this 18 for 18 game where 90% of his passes were 5-yard dump offs.
Just a
It-
bit ridiculous.
It takes away from this 18 for 18 perfect passing.
Yeah, it was It was just a bit. It was
All
very
right.
annoying to watch that
You
game.
guys want to do our takeaways since we actually have time?
Um, I think I didn't. Oh wait, the takeaways, like you said, at the
Yeah,
start.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
We're gonna sound all like broken records here because we said them twice, and we had technical difficulties and troubles with the stream. But if you were there for those, I'm sorry. Um, I'm gonna get into mine. Chase, you're gonna like this one. Or not actually. You're actually probably gonna hate it. Uh, Christian McCaffrey. Um, he has been diagnosed with bilateral Achilles tendonitis. I sound like a broken record every single time I say it. Um, what does this mean fantasy wise? If you have Jordan Mason and you look like you're going to the playoffs, hold him. We don't know what the Niners are saying with their front office. They're saying he was going to be out 5 to 7, but they also lied in the preseason with saying he was going to be good to go week 1. He clearly wasn't. Now he's in Germany for stem cell transplants. Like, you're going to Germany in the middle of the season. That's not necessarily something that we should be hopeful for. So definitely try to get rid of Christian McCaffrey, especially if your team's doing bad, which it most likely is, because you drafted him at the 101. You drafted him at his absolute peak, and he can't play at all. So Jordan Mason is on a heavy rise. There's a reason I have him in the thumbnail. Um, Snag him. I don't care what it takes to get him. If your team needs wins now, snag him because he will be dropping consistent 20-point games under any circumstance.
All right. My take is that Justin Fields is the real deal. He is playing at an MVP caliber level. I'm just gonna open up the discussion right now because I don't feel like providing the evidence. We might as well talk about who our early MVP is since we literally did this like already. So, you guys just want to say who your MVP is right now and
Just in the whole season,
discuss?
Sam
Like
Darnold right now.
yeah. Sam Darnold. Okay.
Josh Allen.
Next one. Okay, that was.
All right, enough of that. My early season MVP is a guy who is just outside the top 5 in passing yards, tied second for touchdowns. No, sorry, not tied second. He is second for touchdowns with 8. Only 2 interceptions. He's the guy who's keeping the ball safe. He's the guy who's leading this team down the field. It's Baker Mayfield.
No.
Absolutely not. It's Justin
No.
Fields. It's Justin Fields. Not much more needs to be said. But yeah, I could see Baker. I could see the debate for Baker, but Fields has just been leading this team. I mean, he's looked like a leader on that field.
I mean, it definitely you have to give Fields his props. He's playing better than Mahomes, who's playing horribly. He's playing better than 90% of the NFL. But obviously, MVP takes week 4 going into week 5 is always a bit crazy. I said Josh Allen because he's just the favorite in Vegas. So I don't really know if I can trust anybody with the MVP. But Justin Fields, he makes a really good dark horse case. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, Josh Allen's the favorite every season until he goes out there and throws 15 interceptions.
Hey,
yeah.
listen, he's been great. Right now,
He's got to be safe with the ball. We haven't seen it a single season.
hopefully, listen, the problem is right now, it's just Josh Allen and his friends having a good old time in the playground, throwing a football around. So maybe that's gonna work for him. Maybe he's not working with Diva Diggs anymore, and he doesn't really have to worry about Diva Diggs. He's working with Khalil Shakir, and he's working with James Cook, who's a great running back, and he's taking a lot of volume from him, which is a lot of chances that Josh Allen could have to throw an interception, but now they're running the ball, and they don't have to worry about receptions or interceptions at all.
Yeah, I actually like this Bills team more than with Diva Diggs. I didn't like Stephon Diggs on the Bills compared to this team because Diggs is a diva. I mean, we saw it in the Texans preseason. He was crying for the ball. Not literally, but we all know what I mean. And Josh Allen, in a team where the wide receiver is just demanding the ball, demanding the ball, demanding the ball, that doesn't win games. That doesn't win games. Um, they're just being smarter with this ball here. And we can see that Josh Allen is not just targeting one player. We've seen Khalil Shakir involved. We've seen Keon Coleman involved. We've seen James Cook involved in the receiving. We've seen Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox still. I mean, so many options there. And they're not all star-studded. I mean, I'll give props to Khalil Shakir. I'll give props to Keon Coleman. But let's be real. On any other team, they're probably wide receiver too. But yeah, I like how Josh Allen's playing. I like how this Bills team is playing.
Yeah, do we have is there any more topics that you guys had that we were supposed to bring up? I don't know where Jacob went, by the way. He's taking a quick little intermission, but
Yeah, he told me
He's
that
he's done.
he had
He's done.
okay.
he told me he had to go watch Seahawks highlights because they're so good.
Okay. I just got rid of him really quick.
Oh, you just kicked them out, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Seahawks while we're here.
The three
Um,
Seahawks fans.
Don't get me started.
Dude, I'm so mad over that game. I was actually raging.
DK
So bad.
Metcalf caught that touchdown.
He caught the
The
touchdown or
the 2 point. The 2 point.
The 2 point. Sorry.
And the craziest thing is they didn't review it. The ref was right there, and I'm pretty sure on 2 point conversion you have to replay it. But
Oh,
I'm
and
dumb.
not to forget DK Metcalf getting tackled in the end zone.
Dude, that was
That
so
was-
annoying.
His arm was the cornerback's arm was around DK's armpit like this, and his other arm was on top of him like this. It was like,
It's so
on-
crazy.
dude, don't even get me. Like, that was probably the worst thing I've ever seen, actually.
The
They didn't
best
call
part
it.
about that game, though, and the funniest part to me, is number 0 on the Lions. I don't even know who he is. Is us? It was like T. Arnold or something.
Yeah, Arnold. Yeah.
3 PIs, 2 defensive holdings. I think he calls to the Lions about 90 yards.
Next
And great
practice,
field
you're putting
position.
some oven mitts on that guy's hands.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to play some defense, no hands. But yeah, that was pretty bad. I feel like we showed a lot. Like we showed a lot. Like I'm not gonna sit here
Look
and
at the way our offense was rolling in the second half.
I'm not gonna sit here. We know our defense can play, and I'm not gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, all our defensive stars were out. Oh, the refs, like it happens, okay? It happens. You're not always gonna be 100% healthy. The refs are not gonna be on your side, but we still put up a great game, only losing by 13 points, and towards the end, let's say we didn't throw that pick, we would have cut it down to probably a 4-point game against the Lions, who are arguably like a top 6, 7 team.
I would honestly, I'm putting them as like top 3.
Top 3. Okay, a little bit of a reach.
Who are we putting above them? Let's be real.
Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Buccaneers.
I'm not putting
Vikings.
the Chiefs, Bucks, or Vikings above them.
You're not putting the Vikings above the Lions.
Actually, yeah. No.
Bucks.
I'll stand by it.
The
I'll stand
Bucks
by it.
literally beat them.
I'll stand by it.
The Bucks literally beat the Lions, broski.
I don't think that matters.
How did you win? Does that not matter?
No, I think I'm just imagining at this point, but
You just want the Seahawks.
I really, yeah. But I will give the Lions their props. They are playing
not to the
amazing.
Lions. Definitely good to have a deep playoff run again. I think
100%.
they made it to a conference championship last year.
Yes.
Right? I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a great game. Honestly, at the end of the day, we lost. That was a great game of football. I mean, the Lions and Seahawks always manage to put on some type of show.
It was
crazy.
last season too, dude.
Last season and the year before that.
Yeah.
Crazy games. So that's always a fun matchup. If you guys have nothing else to say, we could just end it here. Call it a
Yeah.
night.
I mean, we're not seeing any questions in chat right now.
Yeah. I mean, probably because we messed up so many times.
Yeah.
We're hitting some viewers, but
We
But
yeah, I want to apologize to anybody watching. Pretty sure it's like only a couple people, but there was just a lot of troubles that we had. Originally, we weren't able to be heard, and then we had to cut the stream, and then we weren't able to heard again. We're sorry.
Yeah.
Next
It's
week will
been
be
a bit
better.
bad.
Next week will be better. We promise you.
But,
And we're also gonna get clips out of this whole stream. We're gonna clip it. It's gonna be on the TikTok for you guys.
look out for the TikTok.
And right now, for me and Brandon at least, a lot of exams are coming in.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're going to be free once we're done with these exams, and we'll be probably pumping out content, 1 post, 2 posts per day. I started getting the community tab in our YouTube rolling, so look out for that. That's going to be more of like a breaking news thing and like a text summary. So yeah, we
Yeah. As Jake said, him and Brandon are gonna be a little busy, so look out for the TikTok. Not saying like I'm solely running it, but I'm just gonna be posting a bunch of content. Feel free to check it out. And yeah, once we start getting rolling, winter break comes around, there will be a lot more content to check out. So yeah, thank you for stopping by on the stream, though. Yeah,
100%. All right, we will catch you guys next week, 8:30, 8:45 around there.
better. Hopefully, we'll have a better stream.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yes.
Yeah,
we're gonna really we'll fix up our act. We'll put it that way. We'll fix it up.
yeah.
Uh, we'll catch you guys.